So today we will learn about the development of tongue. Okay. So for the development of tongue, we need lateral lingual swellings, two lateral lingual swellings, and tubercular impar. When these two lateral lingual swellings and tubercular impar, this is T and this is I. Okay. So when these three fuse, we form. There is formation of tongue. Okay. Uh, Before that, we need to know that the development of the tongue occurs in the fourth week of intrauterine life. Then we come to the structure of the tongue. We know that tongue is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. The anterior 1/3 is derived from the first pharyngeal arch, and the posterior 1/3 is derived from third and fourth pharyngeal arch. Then in the tongue there is presence of foramen cecum. For foramen cecum, we need to know that there is origin of the thyroglossal duct from the foramen cecum. It disappears when the child grows, it disappears. This is a normal process. If the remnants remains, it forms lingual thyroid, or what we call thyroglossal duct cyst. Then the first pharyngeal arch forms the anterior 2/3 and the third and fourth forms the posterior 1/3. Then we need to know that the third and the fourth pharyngeal arch, they form midline swelling, which is known as hypobranchial eminence. It forms the posterior 1/3 and the posterior most part of the tongue. So this hypobranchial eminence is divided into the third pharyngeal arch form the cranial part, and the fourth pharyngeal arch form the caudal part. Means it is also divided into two parts. Okay, the tongue is divided into two parts, and it is also divided into this hypobranchial eminence. It is divided into two parts. We know that there are these are the pharyngeal arches. So if this is the third pharyngeal arch and this is the fourth pharyngeal arch, here we found the hypobranchial eminence. Okay, so this forms this cranial end and the caudal end. Okay, then this forms the posterior most part and the epiglottis. Then here we need to know that the nerve supply of the tongue is from three different nerve branches. The anterior 1/3 is supplied from the chorda tympani, which is the branch of facial nerve, that is seventh cranial nerve. Then the copula part, which is derived from the third pharyngeal arch, is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve. Then the last part, that is that caudal part, it is supplied by the vagus nerve, or we can say 10th cranial nerve. All the muscles of the tongue is derived from the occipital myotomes, and the gene for the normal development of the tongue is troponin C. Then we need to know these four anomalies of the tongue. Microglossia happens when there is overfusion of the tongue. Macroglossia happens when there is less fusion or incomplete fusion of the tongue. In non-fusion, this is fusion. In non-fusion, there is cleft of the tongue, and when the tongue gets fused, we call it ankyloglossia or tongue tie. So you can explain these four things also for exam.